the very, very best assessment for the lower back is going to give you tons and tons of information is this one I'm about to show you here. Now this is your money maker. This absolutely shows you everything you need to know about the lower back in just a few seconds. And I'll run through it piece by piece, and then I'll run through it for you with the actual time, so you'll see how very, very short it is and how much information you actually get from this particular assessment. Very, very cool assessment. So we're going to be looking at Dina, and we're just going to say to her, now I always touch my patients when I talk to them, so I know I'm talking to them, mostly because I tend to think out loud as well, and my patients love to tune me out when I'm thinking out loud. So I'm going to say, Dina, would you please keep your legs straight and go ahead and lift it up? Good, and back down. I also always tap her leg so she knows which leg to lift. You say right and left, you never know what you're actually going to get, because if they're anything like me, they don't know their right from their left most of the time. So, Dina, would you please lift this leg up? Nice job. Now what we're looking for is this. As she lifts, you're going to see motion at the hip joint first, the SI joint second, the lumbar spine is going to roll, and when that happens, and I'll walk you through how that looks, the movement goes all the way up to her shoulder if there's no fixations in this chain. So, it gives you information about a ton of things. So initially, we're looking at the hip joint to see if the hip actually moves. A lot of times, people's hip joint won't move very well. So they're stealing all of that range of motion from their lower back, and it's chewing up their lower back joints, and that's why they have lower back pain. So by assessing that and fixing the motion at the hip, their low back gets to go on a much needed vacation. So this is the first piece. Lift this leg for me, and you can see she moves fairly well at this joint. Go ahead and relax. Great. So now we know it's not her hip. Go ahead and lift again. Now we can see good motion at her SI joint as well, and go ahead and relax and lift again. And relax. One thing I am noticing though is her butt muscle stays fairly flaccid throughout this whole move. So her butt muscle on her right side is not moving as well as it should. So she's stealing a lot of that motion from this part of her back. And she'll tell you after doing this many reps, she's starting to feel it a little bit right in this muscle, right in her QL over here on the opposite side. So again, lifting the leg, we're going to look at motion here. We're going to look at motion here. Go ahead and relax. Now, I'm going to have her lift this side for just a moment so you can see the huge glute activation on this side. Go ahead and relax and do that again. Great. So she's got great, really huge glute activation on the left side, so we know this is technically normal for her. So we're going to have to rehab her butt muscle on this side. So now we're going to move up a little higher. You also want to assess the lumbar spine, and the way you're going to do that is by putting your fingers right on that lumbar spine. And I'm going to have Dina again lift this leg. Beautiful. So what we're going to feel for is that this multifidi muscle here fires nice and strong, and this one over here doesn't fire all that strongly, because this leg is supported by all of her lower back muscles over here to keep her spine from bending every time she moves. So that's the key. You're going to also feel the lumbar spine roll. And what I mean by that is as she lifts this leg, her lumbar spine is going to tip this direction a little bit. So if this is the whole lumbar spine, the spinous processes would be the body of the vertebra. When she lifts this leg, her lumbar spine tips toward, well, technically the spinous process tips toward the leg that she's lifting. That gives you great information as to which side will be up if you're going to do a kick move to get things moving. Okay, now the last piece that you're going to look at is when she lifts this leg, you're going to see it pull all the way up to that shoulder, as it should. Now a lot of times the TL junction will be stuck. If it is, we got to get it moving, and you won't even see that motion go up to her shoulder. It'll be like the motion goes, 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 and then stops. Go ahead and relax. One more time. Beautiful. But she's got good range of motion all the way up to that shoulder, so she's got a very functional lower back. That assessment that we just did seems like it's going to take forever, right? Because we're learning about hip motion, lower back motion, lumbar motion, SI joint motion, multifidi firing, glute firing. Woo! We're learning all of that. This is what it looks like in real time. How are you doing, Dina?
I'm great.
Great. Let's assess that lower back. So I'm going to put my hand here. Go ahead and lift this leg for me. Great. And put it back down. Lift this leg for me. Great. Put it back down. And go ahead and relax. Through that short moment, I got all the information I need. I know her glute is a little bit flaccid. She's got pretty good motion in her hip. She's got great range of motion in her SI joint. Her lower back's a little bit sticky, so we're going to do a flexion adjustment to open that up because it didn't roll to the side when I put my hand on it. It did continue all the way up to her shoulder. So now we know what to adjust, and it only took us about 3 seconds to do it.